Don in London, hello. It's October 23rd, 2009. My video is all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. My substance or addiction, alcohol. My behaviour, cross-addicted often into workaholic, relationshipaholic, any old olic, any old ism. And these days I try live one day sober. 24-hour program which keeps me safe. And sober needs to come first in my life. That is not to say no one else is important or anything is less important than sobriety. But if I put sobriety second in my life, what tends to happen is I'll lose everything else. Because once I start to put sobriety as a secondary part of living, I lose touch with what's important. I fail to see the truth of now. So for me, learning how to live sober one day at a time has been of extreme importance and has given me a life back. And what a life. It's a very modest one in my opinion, but at the same time it's very fulfilling because it's being a part of life, it's being a part of what is going on, included knowing how to love, be loved and have something useful to do. So yes, I share experience, strength and hope here. And if it hadn't been for family, community and professionals, I would have never have got to a place of knowing that I could actually get out of the addiction into recovery. And recovery is where I am now. So family, community, professionals all had their place or their part to play in my rejuvenation and recovery. So I'm extraordinarily grateful in every sense of the word. And why did they do it? I couldn't see why, but people do what they do and they try help us as best they can. But the problem for the addict is isolation, no way out, not understanding. So all those people who helped me and loved me long enough for me to get a moment of clarity, which was simply, I cannot do this on my own. I have extraordinary gratitude, and gratitude just to wake up each morning. And last night I had the longest sleep I've had in ages. Don't know why, just one of those things. We never know, do we? And as the Dalai Lama said, sleep is the greatest meditation. So in these videos it's about recovery, what helps me, and there is a primary source of help always for me, and that's the fellowship of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't speak for it, but I can share about how it helps me. And at the same time, it's full of unique, authentic people who can speak for themselves as and when they choose and where they choose. So anonymity is of supreme importance for me. It's the sanctuary for us to find the truth of now, how to live in this one day and hopefully stay sober. So AA is part of my regime, if you like, of living. And it makes the rest of my life possible and work as best it can. Nowhere near perfect. I've discovered that the older I get, the less I know. So the more I know, the less I know, is often said, and that's true. So I share here the statement of intent about what is AA, or the AA preamble, and then share some readings which help me, inspire me to keep sober for the rest of the day, hopefully, and go to meetings. Meetings are the bedrock, as are the 12 steps of action, 12-step program as it's called, to change attitude and behaviour, to keep me on track. Doesn't mean life is going to be wonderful all the time, although when I look back, even the hardship and the pain, it's wonderful because I can see the difference between joy, sad, love, hate, all those things. So the statement of intent about AA. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And I went to a new meeting for me last night, and I was asked to do the chair, which is just sharing at the beginning, and then people share about their story of experience, strength and hope as well. And that's my second one this week. It should have been my third, but I was late getting to a meeting, and I've got one more to do. And I know that sometimes it can be good to do the chair, but there can be a limit to how many one can do in a week and still retain freshness and not be repetitive and lose sight of what's important, which is sharing a message about how it's working now. So last night it was good to be there, but I do know it makes me very tired, and maybe that's why I slept so well. Or I just got it all out, all expressed all of what was going on for me. And what's going on for me right now, life is okay. It's okay to be me. Anyway, the readings today. Daily reflections, 1 page a day, and October is about the 10th step of the 12-step program, all about taking inventories, but it diverts off this a little bit today, and it says what we know best. October 23rd. Shoemaker, stick to thy last. Better do one thing supremely well than many badly. That is the central theme of this tradition 5. Around it our society gathers in unity. The very life of our fellowship requires the preservation of this principle, and it's about the group of AA and its message, and it says, each group has but one primary purpose, to carry its message to the alcoholic who still suffers, and we all do that by just turning up to a meeting actually, and it can be more than that, depending on what we're up to and how we may help. And it goes on to say, the survival of AA depends on unity. What would happen if the group decided to become an employment agency, a treatment centre, or a social service agency? Too much specialisation leads to no specialisation, to frittering of efforts, and finally to decline. I have the qualifications to share my sufferings and my way of recovery with the newcomer. Conformity to AA's primary purpose ensures the safety of the wonderful gift of sobriety, so my responsibility is enormous. The life of millions of alcoholics is closely tied to my competence in carrying the message to the still suffering alcoholic. And the competence actually is to share a truthful message about experience, strength and hope. And, when it says treatment centre, social service agency, employment agency, that's not to undermine those and what they do, because they're, excuse me, especially a treatment centre, for example, which specialises in getting people on the path of recovery. That's their job, and the job of AA is to share a message of experience, strength and hope to those who desire not to drink anymore. And fellowship does breed friendship, but we need to make sure that we stay with our primary purpose. As Bill sees it, this book, page 236, Perfection, Only the Objective, it goes on to say, there can be no absolute, there can be no absolute humility for us humans. At best we can merely glimpse the meaning and splendour of such a perfect ideal. Only God himself can manifest in the absolute. We human beings must needs live and grow in the domain of the relative. I'll explain that in a second, as I think I understand it. So we seek progress in humility for today. That's it. We seek progress. Few of us can quickly or easily become ready even to look at the spiritual and moral perfection. We want to settle only for as much development as may get us by in life, according, of course, to our various and sundry ideas of what will get us by. Mistakenly, we strive for a self-determined objective rather than the perfect objective which is of God, or nature and providence. And for me that's to live life truthfully as it is, with humility, being a part of, same size, no bigger, no smaller. And that was written over nearly 50 years ago, so not much has changed. And often you see on my in other places that throughout history people have had the wisdom of what is it to live in the moment, and it simply is to experience living and being a part of and included, to love, be loved, and have something useful to do. So the Serenity Prayer, as I share at the end of these videos, to God all good conscience, as you understand he, she, it, or whatever it is. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference is simply just for today.